Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're here to talk about one of my favorite publishers. And also, I think, one of yours as well.
For sure. Can you guess it?
Can you guess it by the shirt? If you can't...
Under Armour.
Under Armour and Stonemaier Games partnership.
You heard it here first.
No,
Well,
I know Jamie doesn't like people spreading rumors, so I'm not spreading that rumor. They are not. Well, that I'm aware of.
With one of the things we're going to be talking about here.
That's true.
You know, it might not be too far out there.
Right.
We know nothing.
Right. From the January newsletter, Jamie had kind of hinted at. So we're getting close, a few days away from the release of the February one, and I believe he's announcing a new game, or I would assume I think it's going to be a new game. Otherwise,
Yep.
next expansion. So we wanted to get to these teasers that Jamie put in his January newsletter to maybe have some guesses at what we thought maybe some of them might be, and just see how it plays out. But we also wanted to let everyone know that in September, Stone-tember we're calling it, we're going to have a load of videos just all dedicated to Stonemaier Games for 10 years of Stonemaier Games. We're really looking forward to it. We've already filmed some of the stuff already in advance because we're hoping to have a lot of reviews and possibly some playthroughs. Kind of maybe going over the history going from game to game and our ratings of each of those games. So yeah, if you're hoping to see that, definitely subscribe. So when that eventually comes, you'll be the first to know about it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're going to get into those teasers and just do some wild speculation.
There you go.
We know nothing extra, so we're probably going to be totally wrong. And who knows? Maybe the Under Armour and Stonemaier getting together. You never know. But anyway, so first off, he hits an old game in a new world and a new game in an old world. And then an expansion and a game that break a 10-year-old Stonemaier rule. Then a new way to store and organize a popular game. And a special edition reprints of one or two games, neither of which negate or replace previous versions in any way. And then an expansion and a game in a major untapped genre for Stonemaier Games. And then two surprise product lines that they haven't hinted at anywhere. And lastly, more Rolling Realms promos connected to some amazing non-Stonemaier games. And then kind of says there's some overlap between some of these, so it's not like each of these are different items. There's some overlap between different ones. But yeah, I guess and also I guess we kind of looked at in each of his newsletters. If you haven't seen them, he kind of has a chart of the progress of future games or expansions and things like that, just to kind of show where in the process those are at, as to what's kind of coming out. And if it's a new game, he uses a code word typically to refer to it. So that's about as much information as we have for most of them, unless it's an expansion. Then I think he's typically done like Tapestry expansion or Wing expansion or whatever it may be.
I believe the dating for this is retail release. So we have a code name Sail, SAIL, and that's expected Q2 of this year, 2022. So coming up pretty soon.
I'm thinking that might be what he's maybe announcing in February, if he makes that announcement.
I would think so. And then also a viticulture expansion in Q2. In Q3, a Wingspan expansion, which will be the third. And then Q4 is Codename Draw, which is interesting.
It's a very unique word to use because I feel like that one, and I think he does this a lot, where they can have several meanings. You can. The speculation on these names is very wild.
Yeah, that could just be. So I thought that maybe we thought that one was going to be kind of the roll and write game a ways back, but it appears not to have been.
Right. Based on now them having Rolling Realms, I assume they're not going to do another one of those at least right away. But maybe if they have another great idea.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it won't be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So those are kind of the code names we had to kind of
Yeah.
go off of too for this year, because I guess I'm assuming this is kind of all teasing at this year's products,
Yeah.
and not really like future after that.
Yeah. Yeah, but there is a code name Hive, which is 2020 question mark. So it could be
Right, and
this
that was
year.
kind of the next one in line. So yeah.
So, but I'm guessing that'll be a little farther down the line.
Yeah. So yeah, going back to it.
So yeah, what was the first one again?
An old game in a new world, and a new game in an old world.
I think a lot of the speculation is Libertalia. And that definitely is like a pirate theme type thing, which would fit with Sail, which will be coming soon, and that would be an old game reprinted in possibly a new world, which I think that one fits a little too perfect that it kind of just has to be that.
Right, and that's kind of what I'm thinking when I saw that, because I think that came up a bit ago, and I remember in the chats, I know people had asked a couple times. I don't know if it was the same person maybe it's someone that really loves Libertalia and was asking Jamie, and I know Jamie really enjoys the game as well. And I don't remember which company owns the rights to it or something, but he thought he would check with them. But I think it was a bigger company, and he didn't really think that they would, maybe care really about reprinting it, since I think it's very hard to get. So I have not played the game. I haven't played it Libertalia.
It is on Board Game Arena,
yes.
But with hopes that it would be released with a Stonemaier name on there. I've kind of withheld and just wanted to wait and see.
Right, and especially if it's in an old site a new world. I don't know.
Where'd Scythe come from there?
Because in my mind, for some reason, with this, I was kind of thinking that it could be in like a 1920s alternate history feel, because I know a lot of people really love Scythe, and I've seen in the chat, everyone seems to ask like, oh, is there going to be another thing to Scythe? Is there going to be another one? And Jamie's open to like using the world again, but Scythe itself will be closed off, I believe. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see what new world that would be in. But yeah, otherwise
kind of a new game.
Yes.
In an old world, which, with all that talk about kind of people loving the Scythe universe, I just feel that kind of has to be the favorite of going back to an old world, which I assume it would be from the Stonemaier collection. But there are quite a few that do have worlds to explore, like Euphoria. Definitely feels different from a lot of games, and I could see that one being one you'd want to go revisit as well. But yeah, I probably think something in the Scythe universe for that.
Yeah, I think that would be the most well received out of the worlds that people really want to see them go back to.
And maybe those two are the same game, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe it's an old game in a new world to it, but it's also to us a new game in the old world of Scythe. It could be both of those.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it could be, because it's all teasers, and who knows? I'm sure Jamie wants to keep it very tricky as to how these or what he was kind of giving away with these. So yeah, it definitely could be. I'm not sure. I think I would prefer that world, because it's a very good looking world. I really love the artwork and all of that. So I think I'd be excited with pretty much all the worlds. I think the only one I could maybe see them not maybe doing is, I don't know. Could you go into the Red Rising world without getting the rights? Because it's not like they own. I wouldn't think they own the rights to the actual world. It'd just be the name. I think that would be hard to do.
Yeah, I don't think that one would really work. But yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I think most of them could be unique, depending on what game you're doing. So yeah. And then we've got an expansion and a game that break a 10-year-old Stonemaier rule.
So, as we said, there are Viticulture and Wingspan expansion. Both of them coming down the line this year, hopefully. So, definitely, first thing you think is that.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, the way it's worded, like an expansion and a game, I'm like, is this a new game with an expansion for itself, type of thing? And that's, what is it, breaking
a 10-year-old
Stonemaier rule. And what did you think that was again?
I thought, so I'm either thinking that it is something exclusive that they're only going to have a very short or a very limited run of, possibly, or I don't know that he would do that. Otherwise, I'm thinking it'll be something that's limited to like a 2-player game.
Yeah.
Because they typically like to have the 1 to 5 players, I believe, maybe 1 to 6. So could be. I'm assuming he's over the last year and a half, 2 years. He's played probably a lot more games with Megan at 2 players. So
yeah.
I know we really love 2-player only games ourselves, and there's a lot of solid ones out there. So maybe if he was pitched, the right idea, and it was something that he thought was really, really too great to pass up, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could see like an viticulture expansion or a Wingspan expansion. I don't know if that would be, because that wouldn't really work, I don't think, with the rest of the content in those games.
Because, the expansion is breaking the rule, too, here, in this sentence. Which, I don't know. Or, I guess, how long ago did he swear off more Scythe content? I thought that was 10 years ago.
I don't think that was 10 years ago.
But, that one's tough.
That one is tricky. Otherwise...
Because then I'm thinking it might just be some exclusive content type of thing, like you were saying.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. That's all I can really think of. And maybe it's talking, because I know he's talked that he's waiting to do a Wingspan big box with the expansion, so maybe that is a limited run of the Wingspan big box with the 3rd expansion inside.
That's
what he's talking about.
True.
Could be. Which I could understand if, with the shipping price and stuff, if that starts going down again, then it might not be ideal to keep printing it that way. Maybe it's easier to keep them separate. But I'm not 100% sure. But then, another new game. I feel like that maybe the 2-player thing could be a new game.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that.
Because
pretty good.
Because if it were Libertalia, I don't think that's a 2-player. That's not a 2-player game.
No,
right?
no.
And the other one's
Draw, which could be kind of like a duel.
It could be a duel
kind of drawing your weapons.
That's true.
Kind of like a Western. I feel like that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. I wonder if maybe like an almost alternate history Western game type thing. That could be interesting. if you're not doing it, Jamie, definitely consider it. But no, maybe that could be it. Because that's another way to use draw. Because another thing I was thinking of too is like drawing things out of a bag or something.
Yeah.
And that might be one of his ones that's like been the most like any different idea you can think of with draw. So maybe one of those things will be it. I'm sure none of these will be right. And then we've got a new way to store and organize a popular game.
Which, Wingspan, big box.
I'm almost wondering if that's a red herring. Since he's brought it up before.
Yeah, that's been pretty well known.
That's been worked on.
Yeah.
But then the only other one I can think of, I can think of 2 things. Either with the viticulture expansion, it might be just a big box, or not just a big box, but it'd be a big box maybe with additional content type thing, is one thing I was thinking. The other thing I was thinking is I've seen a lot of people ask for a Tapestry big box, and Jamie has always said that the first box is big enough. So maybe, it's not on there, and it's not listed in any of those. I don't know if maybe he's doing a big box for Tapestry, but that's total speculation. I don't think I've heard anyone else say that that's what they think.
I think of those 2, viticulture is a lot more likely.
Yes.
Because that is.
If I was guessing, if it's hinting at anything outside of Wingspan, That would be my guess.
Yeah, because every other game, I think you could fit everything in the base box. Viticulture, if they had more, you can't.
Right.
Like that box was packed just base game. And then with the expansion, like we don't have both boards in there, I don't think.
No.
Because it just wouldn't fit.
Right.
And yeah, since they're adding another expansion, I think I think that's a good guess that if it is a red herring and it's not the Wingspan big box, which I feel like is the perfect way to swerve people that way. I think it would probably be a viticulture. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if I remember right, I believe like new versions of viticulture have a slightly different storage solution as well. So maybe since they kind of maybe were putting that together, maybe at the same time, that's what really made me think it was they were maybe at the same time working on a big box to do, kind of have a newer storage solution. But
yeah.
We will see. Maybe it'll just be the Wingspan big box, but I'm fine with that too because I really love Wingspan, and I plan on eventually owning hopefully all the expansions.
Yes.
When those all come out. Then we've got special edition reprints of one or two games, neither of which negate or replace previous versions in any way.
It's interesting that he says one or two.
That is interesting.
So it could be Libertalia again. Could be kind of a reprint, but the way he says special edition as well is interesting. I think that this might be kind of going back to viticulture because they are changing the. I think Andrew Bosley will be doing the art in the expansion. I have a feeling that maybe this is a reprint of viticulture with Bosley art as well.
Yeah, that's a good call out because maybe. And I'd be hopeful because I really love viticulture too. I think pretty much all of the Stonemaier games a lot. So I'm really excited for whatever this may end up being. But I think viticulture, that was my first Stonemaier. That was the first one we got, and that was kind of my first real taste of the Stonemaier games. And I loved that game, and I still do. And the storage solution is hard to love a little bit, the one that I currently have. So I'd be all for maybe it's kind of been trying to keep it a little quiet, but maybe it's a really special edition viticulture because I think that's been one. I mean, that's one of his oldest games, and it's been one that still ranks so high for so many people. So I think it would definitely sell if it was just some grand edition of it as well. So maybe that would be one. And if there were to, I'm really not sure what. Well, you said possibly he might count Libertalia in there or whatever, but I'm really not sure what another one could be because he just recently came out with. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be Tapestry. I think it's too new. All of his other.
Yeah, Between Two Castles just had an expansion. That is a tough one.
Yeah, because I can't imagine he would have just made another expansion for any game that he was going to plan on doing a special printing of.
Yeah.
Do you think... I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't know how well received Pendulum was. And I know people didn't love the plastic pieces, and the sand timers weren't people's favorites. Maybe there's going to be a reprint of that.
That's true. I didn't think of that. That could be, because have you said that maybe they're going back to more wood bits in their games now, so I could see them going back and maybe making a special edition for that for sure. Yeah.
So I'd be definitely game for any of those, and it sounds like it doesn't actually change any of the actual gameplay or anything, so it's not like something you have to go out and get. But that would be awesome. But maybe then too, because I don't think Jamie really loves to do things where you would totally replace the first game. So I feel like most of the time, or something like this would typically just be like an expansion or a big box expansion that maybe if he wanted to, change some things, you could just include that in a big box or something, versus having someone feel like, oh, I own the old version and now I'd prefer to own the new one because maybe it's their favorite game or something, and maybe they really like the look of the new one. But We will have to see. Maybe that's where they're breaking a 10-year-old Stonemaier rule.
Maybe.
But then we've got an expansion and a game in a major untapped genre for Stonemaier Games. And the first thing that comes to mind to me is a cooperative game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
But at the same time, I feel like, unless they're working on, maybe he's working on 2 at the same time, but I feel like that would be his open world game, which I don't believe is going to be one that's released this year.
No, I don't think
Unless
so. We have Hive. Hive mentality, bees working together, co-op.
Mm-hmm.
I could tie together, maybe.
If that was right at the end of the year.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, genre, I feel like they've touched quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They've even gotten a roll and write, which is something that I'd usually say,
right.
maybe a roll and write, but they have that now. So, yeah, I think probably co-op. You're right.
Because, I'm trying to think, would they do a party game? I don't know if he'd do a party game. I don't know if that's a Stonemaier rule that they do the main event game, and that would be more of a party. So maybe a party game, but yeah, I feel like cooperative is the biggest genre that they haven't tapped yet, but I'm trying to think of what else it would even be. Do they have a tug of war game? And I think Jamie said that he likes that mechanism, so maybe that if it's a duel, what could be?
That could be.
If we are doing our Western duel game, what would that? I'm not sure what mechanism that could maybe be. Something that would be the new genre.
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling that whatever it is that breaks that Stonemaier rule, that might also be the one that's in a new genre.
Yeah, that would make sense because they're both changing it up quite a bit. Yeah.
But yeah, and then one of them it says is an expansion though. So if we are back down to just those expansions, I just see, and maybe like I said, maybe viticulture is something that's going to be really big and it's going to allow for all these, but I don't know what. I can't imagine that would be cooperative.
No, but maybe. I mean, a lot of games have multiple modes.
That's true.
But I just can't imagine how that would have that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that feels like it would work, but you never know.
Yeah.
It could. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm getting too hyped for this viticulture expansion.
Maybe. Oh no, they have a campaign legacy. They have Charterstone. I was thinking maybe they'll add that Wingspan campaign that you've wanted.
Yes,
the big year.
The big year. I'm still game for it. And maybe it is something related to that. Maybe that could be in the expansion. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but that definitely could be. Maybe what they're doing. Because I haven't heard anything really on what people think could be in that third Wingspan expansion.
Yeah.
So
do we even know what kind of?
I don't think we know the area even.
No.
So yeah, it could totally be anything because there's a ton you could do with the game and continue to just keep adding cards and what that could add. Then we've got 2 surprise product lines that we haven't hinted at anywhere. That could really be anything.
Yeah, that really could be anything. It could be a partnership with Under Armour.
Right. That's where you get into that partnership. But
yeah, I think one of the things we were thinking were like clothes or hats, possibly, which I'd be game for. I probably need a new hat. I think I've worn this in like every video we filmed. But yeah, there's that. Otherwise, I was thinking kind of something like a storage trays or solution, like something that they do well, that people want to see in other games, that they could just kind of make to sell by themselves. But they kind of did that with those trays, and they didn't. I think that was a different company. They didn't manufacture them.
Right.
They just had them customized. But we just played Between Two Cities, and just a wild idea that had kind of a deck of cards to determine like the first player or in turn order, like the last letter. Last letter of their first name or something, like sort them by that. And I was like, that's a pretty cool idea that we don't see in anything.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'd be game for them just selling a deck of how to determine a first player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, that would be a great one to do.
Yeah. I mean, I doubt that's what it is, but that was just a cool thing that I saw.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, otherwise, I think on the mill, Dusty had said that he predicts that it's puzzles, because Megan likes puzzles, and I think Jamie and Alivecast had said that she was designing something or doing something for Stonemaier Games, so I'd be definitely up for a puzzle too, of possibly any of the Stonemaier artwork that they've used, because a lot of their games look really amazing. Or if there was any extra artwork that wasn't used in the games that they have just sitting around. I would be definitely game for that if that were to be.
Just be the game board. You put it together and then play.
It could be.
Taking puzzle boards to a whole new level.
Exactly. But yeah, otherwise I can't really think of too much. The only one other thought would be Jamie has gotten into frisbee golf quite a bit, so I could maybe see him if he found the right thing. But I think this I don't know if he'd count it in like breaks a 10-year-old somewhere rule, but this could be a very limited thing where he maybe sells like frisbee with like the Stonemaier logo on it or something.
Which,
so that'd be interesting.
We wouldn't have a need for that, but I think we'd probably end up getting it anyway.
And maybe trying out some frisbee golf. but yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because I think there's been quite a few people that have asked for that as well. So yeah. And then lastly, more Rolling Realms promos connected to some amazing non-Stonemaier games.
So yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict for
that
this.
Could really be anything.
I think one of mine that I think it might be is just Terraforming Mars is just such a popular game, so I wouldn't be surprised if that were one. Otherwise, I was thinking I'd be interested in a pandemic one, just kind of clearing the disease, and maybe if you wanted to incorporate some sort of co-op type thing to that, maybe. I just thought that would be an interesting one to see how it's tackled.
That's true, and maybe that might be, because it could be considered an expansion.
That's true.
Maybe that's where it is. Maybe that's what breaks the
genre.
Had not thought of that. That could be. The only thing, one that I would want, or I'm guessing, because I think Garfield games are liked quite a bit. I could see one of those making it, either like probably Raiders or maybe Architects. I think would probably be most likely one of the two that would be used, but I think honestly, I think people like them enough that any of those I could really see being on there.
Even Shipwrights.
Maybe not Shipwrights, but you never know. There's probably someone out there that really likes that, and maybe. I know a lot of people have designed a lot of different ones, and it'll be interesting to see kind of which ones make it and which ones, I guess I probably won't know of the ones that don't make it, but I think there's definitely a lot that could be made, and I'm guessing he's probably already got a lot of them pretty much figured out. I would guess if he really wanted to, he could probably release a lot of them in this year.
Yep.
If he really wanted to, but
I'm excited for those, and kind of just having a continual flow of little expansions to Rolling Realms.
Yeah, it's really an interesting concept where you could go back to old games you love and maybe make some realms for those. Outside of the Stonemaier games, you can make some for the new Stonemaier games. You can make some for new games outside of Stonemaiers.
They may just have to do with Codename Sail and Draw. Maybe that's just those two games.
Right. It looks like it's going to be an exciting year to be a fan of Stonemaier Games, and I can't wait for him to announce the next game just to see what it's going to be. I'm excited.
Yeah, hopefully it's all of this takes place before our Stone-tember, so we can talk about all of it.
Yes, we'll hope to get if any of whatever gets released before that, we're going to hope to include in one way or another in Stone-tember. So definitely, like I said before, if you are interested in that, Give us a sub.
And if you just can't wait, we're releasing Tap Talks once a month where we play Tapestry and talk about the game that we had and the civilizations and compare them. So if you just need your Stonemaier fix, check those out.
But yeah, otherwise, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.